Throwback weekend on NFL Primetime. No, as in uniforms. The Packers, the Bears, the Cardinals, and the Steelers dig deep in the closets for these classics. Even the refs showed off their old units. Bow ties and Hogan hats. Dion has a new uniform. Primetime makes his Niner debut. The Dolphins are pumped up to host the Jets in a battle of the undefeated. Reggie White visits his old friends in Philly. Reunited, and it feels so good. It doesn't feel good to be 0-3. Elway and Haas try to avoid it in Denver. Seem like old times? Bruce comes up big in Houston. You never get tired of the classics. All the chart-topping hits. We've got plenty of tricks up our sleeve. Next on NFL Primetime. Welcome to Week 3 of NFL Primetime. I'm Chris Berman. Throwback weekend. All the uniforms, do not adjust your television set. All the uniforms are from days gone by. Our uniforms are kind of up to date, as usual, we hope here. Tom Jackson, Robin Roberts. I got this patch on from the early Espen days. I know people are getting sick and tired of this thing, but it just won't come off. I need an awl to get it off of here. So we're ready to play some football. Well, a couple teams not really worried about going 3-0. They're worried about going at least getting off the schneid. The New England Patriots and the Cincinnati Bengals. The Patriots lost a pair of heartbreakers to two good teams, the Bills and the Dolphins, in the first couple of weeks. Could they get off the mat against the Cincinnati Bengals? Now, last year, the Patriots beat the Bengals in a scintillating 7-2 game, and you had to wonder if Bill Parcells, though, as bad as that score looked, was looking to get back to that sort of score. That's his type of football, is it not? Here we go from Riverfront, the early Bengal helmets in the late 60s, and Pat the Patriot back on the New England helmets. First quarter, Louis Oliver steps in front of Ray Critton and intercepts Drew Bledsoe. Then look at Oliver. Louis, no need right there. Well, with the good luck help, Mike Jones hits David Klingler's arm. Ball pops in the air. Good reception, though, by Klingler, one of his better passes of the day. 2 plays later, Steve Broussard, the former Falcon, he can run. Look at him go. 38 yards up the sideline. Touchdown. But the Bengals being the Bengals, they missed the extra point, and it's 6-0 Cincinnati. Drew Bledsoe brings him back. And look at this, a rushing touchdown. Marion follows Kevin Turner, Tom 7-6 P-Man.
Yeah, and you know that Bill Parcells loves this block by Kevin Turner right there to spring butts into the end zone.
All right, so David Chulis has come on here. Bill Parcells looking at the defensive sheet. There's not a lot on it this year. Second quarter, Patriots up 13-6. Matt Barr, 2 of his 4 field goals. Klingler to Carl Slim Pickens, touchdown, and we are tied at 13. Then, just before the end of the half, Bledsoe. Look at this to Ray Crittenden, who's made some circus catches. Couldn't hold on to this one. Ray heard it from his coach, as often he would. But Patriot defense coming to life up front, Tom.
Yeah, Klingler had a tough day there. You saw Aaron Jones sack Klingler, cause a fumble here again. Now, Chris Slade and Tim Goad do the same thing. Patriots recover the ball.
So David Chulis says we got to get something going here. 19-13 P-Men in the third quarter. 2 more Barr field goals. Broussard, another touchdown. The Bengals lead at 20-19. But Drew Bledsoe, he can gun it. Look at Michael Timpson. Beautiful throw and a beautiful catch between defenders. 25-20 Patriots. Bledsoe, another 300-yard game. 4 if you go back to last season in a row. But Klingler to Pickens makes it a 31-28 game late. The Patriots by 3. The outside kick. Myron Guyton, the former Giant, one of the big free agent pickups for that man, Robert Kraft, celebrating his first win as new owner of the Patriots. And New England, well, they get the Bengals back in it, but a good win again. The Patriots scoring over 30 for points, and they win it by the count of 31-28. Bledsoe, 3 games this year, Thomas, thrown for 1,166 yards, 8 touchdowns, twice. Today he was 30 of 50, twice he's thrown over 50 passes. So the good news of the Patriots, they win it.
Right.
But Bill Parcells, this isn't the blueprint, is it?
Yeah, Bill will certainly take the win, but I think that it's frustrating to Bill Parcells when you think about the kind of football that he'd like to play. 2 elements missing: the strong running, consistent game that he's used to, where you get 4 or 5 yards of crack, and then the defense, that solid defense. And I'm sure that he's willing to trade some of those Bledsoe numbers for those other 2 areas.
Well, here's a guy that has some good numbers, Dan Marino. Could he continue throwing the good numbers in the game atop the AFC East? 2-0 Jets, 2-0 Dolphins in Miami. Who would come out on top? Marino throwing, well, he looked beautiful today. We'll be back. Throwback Weekend Prime Time continues. When Chicago Cardinals, a team that Al Capone used to go and watch, he might have loved the guy that Buddy Ryan started a quarterback for the Cardinals.
Oh, he would have loved McMahon. Yeah, he looked kind of odd, though. He had the old uniform, but that new age.
Right, Back to the Future.
Back to the future, indeed. In hopes of making something happen, Buddy Ryan sat down Steve Berline in favor of Jim McMahon. They had to do something. The Cards dead last in offense in the league. They made their first trip to Cleveland since '85, and in a series that dates back to 1950. Something to know on Throwbacks Weekend. The original gladiator, Jim Brown. The Browns not much better than the Cards on offense. Vinny Testaverde came in the worst-rated QB in the AFC, and in the first quarter, Testaverde's first pass attempt, very Testaverde-like, intercepted by Aeneas Williams. He has 6 INTs in the first 2 weeks. But the Cardinals, of course, have offensive woes as well. Steve Berline was benched, and here comes Jim McMahon. You see his record as a starter. He gets things done. McMahon was quick to work on the rookie, Antonio Langham, but Langham, TJ, makes a great defensive play.
Yeah, pass intended for Randall Hill, and Langham has a habit of getting his hands on the ball, stretches out beautifully here, and tips the ball away just in time to prevent a reception.
Yeah, takes that reception away from Randall Hill. Very next play, McMahon picks on the rookie again, and Langham comes up with the INT this time, his second of the year. The ball is fumbled, but it's going the Browns' way. They recover. Ugly first half. Browns with a 3-0 lead. In the second half, 3rd and 25. Testaverde throws up a prayer. It's answered. Pass interference by Herschel Curry, TJ.
Yeah, Curry had good coverage on this play. The one mistake he makes is he doesn't get his head around to see that the ball's coming until it's a little bit too late, runs into the receiver, and draws a penalty.
31-yard penalty. A few plays later, Testaverde not going to put it up this time. The Browns' first rushing TD of the season. They're up 10-0. Oh, Buddy's D has allowed 6 touchdowns this season. 4 of them have occurred after pass interference penalties. Still in the third, Cards blitz. Testaverde dumps it off to Tommy Vardell, who lives up to his name. Touchdown, Tommy. Tommy, a 2-point conversion, making it 18-0 Browns. Fourth, it's 25-0 Browns. McMahon pulled for Jay Schrader, and he is picked off by Eric Turner. Gets a great block from James Jones. Does the rest on his own. 93 yards. He goes for the score, 32-0. The Browns with a shutout in 6 seasons as a head coach, including 5 at Philadelphia. This is the first time that a Buddy Ryan team has been shut out, and the first time since '91 for the Cardinals. Jim McMahon was 19 of 38 for 169 yards with 2 INTs, and he took his share of the blame for the Cards' dismal showing. He talked with our Mark Malone after the game.
Both you and Buddy said, you know, if you won today, you would expect to start again next week. Where does that all set now?
Well, I don't deserve to start after the way I played today. You know, I don't know what it is. I'm not blaming anybody else. You know, I had a chance to make some plays today, didn't make them.
I don't know what the problem lies, you know what I mean? But, you know, I think every individual on the damn team, you know, really need to look at himself and decide whether or not he's going to come back and, you know, I don't know what we got to do, what each person got to do, but definitely got to do more than what we're doing now because, you know, it's just not enough to get the job.
Ooh, Buddy Ball. Well, thank goodness they have next week off. The Colts hoping to win their first game ever at Three Rivers Stadium. Many watching these two. The Foster matchup, would it materialize? The fireworks started right away. Opening kickoff. Ronald Humphrey fields it at the 5. Cuts left and has gone 95 yards, 14 seconds into the game. The Colts after PAT are up 7-0. The big plays were just beginning. Second quarter, Steelers driving. Neil O'Donnell gets nailed by Tony Bennett. Quentin Coriat picks it up. He is gone. 78 yards for the touchdown. 14-0 Colts, just like that. But Ron Earhart's offense would get it going. Steelers down 14-7 in the second. Barry Foster gets it going. Going right for 8 yards. Foster again. To the right. Great blocking downfield. Goes 29 yards for the touchdown. Game is tied at 14. Some great blocking, TJ.
Yeah, when you see a great run, you know that you're getting great blocking. Right there, you see Yancey Thigpen seal off Ray Buchanan. to Spring Foster the rest of the way to the end zone on that 29-yard run. The story for Marshall Faulk would be a little bit different. Anytime you're playing great team defense, you're maintaining your run lanes. As we watch Faulk try to get outside, inside, you see there are 4 or 5 Steelers at the point of attack all the time. People scrambling to get to the ball. An average day for Marshall, 15 carries, 61 yards.
Well, Ted Marchibroda said, let's go to the air then. Fourth quarter, 17-14 Steelers. Jim Harbaugh to Sean Dawkins for 13 yards. 6 plays later, Harbaugh finds Dawkins running the post pattern. A 20-yard score, 21-17 Colts. Bill Tobin's defense, will they hold the lead? Big play on 3rd and 3. O'Donnell swings it out to Byron Bam Morris. Great individual effort. Goes for 49 yards to the Colt 11. Steelers go to another new face. O'Donnell to John L. Williams. Lunges across the goal line for the score. Steelers up 24-21. A huge day for the Steelers offense. Steelers defense will protect that lead. Jim Harbaugh nailed by Kevin Green. The ball pops in the hands of Stephen Henry. A frustrating afternoon for Marshall Faulk and company. Pittsburgh wins it 31-21. The Steelers prevented Faulk from being the first NFL rookie to rush for 100 yards in his first 3 games, holding him to 61. Barry Foster looked like his old self, rushing for 179 yards, his first 100-yard game since the 7th game of last season. And shortly after that, of course, he had the ankle injury that put him out for the rest of the year.
We looked at all those unis, and there's some other good ones, but the Steelers, they look like Essendon at Fauntleroy, in Australian rules football with those jerseys.
Great
Big Daddy
job.
Lipscomb, I think, made a big play in that game.
I think so.
Well, some teams, there's certainly one team we're talking about here goes way back. The Chicago Bears. They're at home today against the Minnesota Vikings. 3rd straight divisional game to start the season for Minnesota, but for Dennis Green, that's great because in the NFC Central, since he's come in a couple of years ago, 14-4 and 4-0 lifetime as coach against the Bears. But Bears pulled out all the stops. They went back to their 1925 uniforms when George Halas was a young Papa Bear. And the galloping ghost, Red Grange, was just a rookie. Would that help against Dennis Green and the Vikes? Well, the Vikings start out quick. Terry Allen, hurt last year. They figure they have a running game this year on the cutback. Then Warren Moon to Chris Carter. One of the rare times he doesn't catch a touchdown, but look at the play. Oh, but he fumbles it out of bounds. No problem. Allen, 12-yard touchdown. Whee! 7-0 Vikings, Tom.
Great job of blocking at the line of scrimmage and then spot shadow here on Carter, Chris Carter, and look at him come in and get that seal block, creates a nice lane. You see the good vision by Terry Allen, and then the great effort right there over the top to get him to the end zone.
The Vikings, you know what they also bring, Tom, and that's defense. They brought it the first 2 games. Henry Thomas to him and Randall at the tackle. They're going to just have a boatload of sacks. Jack Del Rio on the blitz and more.
Yeah, you watch Robert Harris here as he's spot shadowed, and look at the miss this block. You get the double team down on the center, trying to get him with Merle Hodge. He throws him inside and goes and gets the sack.
Now Kramer, the uni's not working. Call upstairs to the Papa Bear probably. Vikings had a big rushing day to Terry Allen. Look at this play, 44 yards on play OA0076 4CFF09 onto running right. And then Allen, another run. Cuts back, Tom, and he can cut back and forth.
Yeah, and anytime you see a runner cutting back like this, he has the great vision. He can see right back across the football field to the far safety.
Terry Allen ran for 159 yards and a pair of touches today. Things get worse, 13-0 Vikings. Bears trying to make something happen. Curtis Conway, it's a fumble. Dave Garnett falls out of like a precious stone. Dave wants it, not happy, because Moon, Jake Reed, touchdown, 18 yards first of his career. Reed had a big game, caught 7 for 90. Carter caught 8 today from Warren Moon. Meanwhile, later in the 3rd, Kramer dropping back, and Dwayne Washington, the #1 pick. Look at him go. He could go all the way. 81 yards. The Vikings shake, rattle, and roll the Chicago Bears 42-14, sending them back in another century. First 3 quarters of the Monday night game and the game today, the Bears were down 58-0 combined. It's hard to come back after that. You see all the numbers. Moon threw for 236 yards, 464 yards of offense, Tommy. That was what we didn't know for the Minnesota Vikings. How quickly, first couple weeks, they struggled. Warren Moon looked like he wasn't at home. He certainly looked at home today.
Yeah, I
7 Packers and the 48 Eagles. And throwback for another reason at the vet, Reggie White, the former Eagle, back in Philly for the first time. City of Brotherly Love. Did they welcome Reggie White? Well, Look at Reggie in the 37 Packer uniforms. Made his presence felt. Blows past the youngster Lester Holmes. Pressures Randall Cunningham, his ex-mate. And look at some of the moves by Reggie, Tom.
Yeah, look at him as he comes around the corner here. He tries to get cut low by Lester Holmes, but look at the agility by a man 300-plus pounds. Forces the incompletion by Cunningham.
Well, they love you, but just not today. And I think Reggie could appreciate that sign. Mike Holmgren loved Brett Favre when he's on, and he loves Sterling Sharp, but Sterling had 3 drops today, uncharacteristic. So they do something else. They go to Edgar Bennett. In the first quarter, the Packers' offense looked pretty good. Swing pass to Bennett for 9 yards. Then Favre to Bennett, like Arnie Herber in those uniforms for a first down. Then Favre looks not for Don Hudson, but for Reggie Cobb. The former Buccaneer, he's wide open. Can Eric Allen make the saving tackle? No, he cannot. 7-0 on the 37-yard play, 7-3 Pack at the half. But the fortune changes in the third quarter. Second possession, William the Fuller rush man strips Cobb of the ball. Mike Zordich recovers. Eagles in business at the 27. Randall goes to work. James Joseph helps him out with a juggling catch, brings it down to the 10. Then Barnett. Eagles won a championship in these 48 uniforms. Not Steve Van Buren, but it's Fred Barnett down to the 1. From the 1, Randall goes over center Dave Alexander. It's a touchdown, 10-7 Eagles, their first rushing touchdown of the season. Meanwhile, the Pack offense struggling. Favre's pass, the youngster, the rookie, LaShawn Johnson drops it, Tom. And then this one battered in his face. Favre actually does a good job to knock it down. And then Johnson with the drop. So Favre not getting helped out, but also he didn't help himself at times. Minus 16 yards for the Pack and offense third quarter. 13-7 fourth quarter. Eagles at their own 5. Randall most dangerous in the shadow of his own goalpost. He avoids the rush, takes off, big play, moves him out of trouble up to the 20-yard line. 2:15 to go. Randall crushed right there by Don Davey. It's a fumble. Sean Jones falls on it. And the Packers move it down to the 6, but second down, Mark McMillan with D. Third down, Favre to Jeff Wilner. Forget it. Fourth down and 4, and look at the play. Favre, a swing pass to Edgar Bennett. Otis, my man Smith, is there to stop him, stop the Packers. Kind of some bizarre ending for the Packers, usually so cerebral on offense, but the last couple of games they have not been, and the Eagles go to 2-1. The Pack fall to 1-2, 13-7. Philadelphia wins it. The Eagles had 6 sacks, gives them 12 overall in the season. 6 sacks, 2 interceptions, and 1 forced fumble today against Brett Favre, Tommy, who every time you watch him, you just shake your head. Sometimes he's good. He's the little girl with the curl, but today his hair was down.
You do end up doing this a lot when you're thinking about Brett Favre. And I won't talk about the whole football game. Let's talk about that last play. 4th down and 4 from your own 6-yard line. I believe that Mike Holmgren believes you don't have to relate every single situation to the quarterback. It's one where you either are going to get into the end zone or you're going to lose the football game. They throw a 4-yard out, or actually a 2-yard out, that's going to be tackled immediately. The maturation of Brett Favre is very slow.
Well, it looked like week 1 he was coming, but now we're back to that funk
square
that
one.
we saw at a time, and I'm sure Mike Holmgren is going home scratching his head. They're home next week, are the Pack. Well, Randall Cunningham, he's Mr. September. The last 3 seasons, Randall's record, starting with the Eagles, is 8-1. He's thrown 18 touchdown passes. He's running for 2 more. I mean, combined for 20 touchdowns and 8 out of 9. I think any club will take that. And the Eagles hope that this year a pretty good start results in a healthy Randall. And maybe the Jets, they were the 68 unis. Manny Fernandez, Bob Kuchenberg, and others from the undefeated 72 Dolphins. Some classic unis that we all remember. Don Shula says, let's early on go for it on 4th and 1. Terry Kirby, did he make it? Remember, the young Spikes is out. They run Kirby, the second-year man from Virginia. The short run, though, they give him the first down. Opening drive, 9 minutes long, but Mo Lewis makes the pick for the Jets in the end zone to kill the drive for Pete Carroll. But the Dolphins come back in the second quarter. Marino to Keith Byers. Look at this play over Aaron Glenn. Terry Kirby goes in a couple plays later to make it 7-0 at Miami. But Ronnie Lott looking good today, Tom.
Yeah, Ronnie Lott, the consummate Pro Bowler and All-Pro. Look at him try to strip the ball there from Terry Kirby. Falls off, but look at him stay after it, get down low and bring him down at the bottom of the pile. And then you see him lined up over the tight end, makes a great tight scrape down inside, gets his head right in there. not bad for a guy probably in his 50s.
Yeah. Well, Lott playing D. So was Miami. Adrian Morrell wearing the old number. Bake Turner, number 29. But Sean Hill comes up fired up. Same drive. Esiason back to pass. Off the hands of Berlin Biggs, number 86. Johnny Mitchell. It's incomplete. And Aubrey Beavers, a beautiful interception for the Dolphins. 2-minute drill. Marino, all day to throw. Finds his tight end, Keith Jackson, makes a good catch for 14 yards. 5 plays later, square out. Look at the pass, look at the catch, look at the run by Keith Fires. 14-0 Miami. Beautiful, Tom.
Chris, everything about it pretty. The release, look where the ball's delivered, outside and low on the hip. Kyle Clifton, pretty good coverage, not good enough for Marino.
Well, Esiason then goes back to pass. He's picked off by Darryl Muggsy Malone. Boomer with 4 interceptions, and Jets fans calling for Al Woodall off the bench. Third quarter, Jets show some life. The reverse, Boomer sidesteps a would-be tackler, Richie Anderson. The fullback makes the catch. It's 14-7 on the 27-yard play, but give Miami credit. The Jets within 7. Marino right down the field to Keith Jackson. Oh, Nelly, you can't tackle me. I can lateral it to Irving Fryer. It's a touchdown. 21-7, let me tell you. Miami using their head.
They say there's no substitute for speed. There's no substitute for strength as we watch Keith Jackson run over about 6 Jets right here, then have the presence of mind to lateral the ball to Fryer for the touchdown.
Miami defense comes up with an interception by J.B. Brown. Marino in business. The Byers, 14. Quick release, Tom. Then, Keith, tell you what, Jackson, you've done your job today. No question about it. There's Keith Byers gone, Keith Jackson. They can all sit down. Bernie Parmalee, some goodies into the end zone from 5 yards out. His first career touchdown. The Dolphins go on to impressively smother the Jets and go to 3-0. Miami wins it 28-14. The Jets only rushed for 59 yards, so much again for that soft Miami defense. 444 yards in offense for Miami, including 155 rushing. Kirby had 100 of them. The Buffalo Bills, Super Bowl may be their nightmare, but for the Oilers, the Bills are their nightmare. The old Buffalo back on the helmets of the 64 Bills. Thurman Thomas running like a young Buffalo. Gains 5 yards on the draw. Then off right tackle for 4 yards. And then Thermal had a tough first game, but has come back with big games in weeks 2 and 3, up the gut for 9 yards. Marcus Levy, head coach of the Bills, happy with Thomas. 28 carries, under 12 yards, caught a couple of more balls for 19. But Bruce Smith, well, watch him sack Bucky Richardson, making his second start. There's 1 sack. Bottom of the screen, a strong rush. He's just around. Bruce Matthews, the Pro Bowl center, moved outside to try and help Tom.
We saw the whole package from Bruce Smith today on Matthews, who was a little bit stale out at that left tackle position. Here he uses his speed, a nice underarm move to get by for the sack on Bucky Richardson. And then the worst possible situation for Houston, a blocking combination that doesn't include blocking Bruce Smith.
4 sacks, 8 tackles for Smith today. The Bills had 5 sacks overall. For Jim Kelly, never got it in the end zone, but he and Andre Reed, they've ruined the Oilers over the years. Look at Reed beat Bo Orlando and Dawn on the play for a great one-handed catch. Kelly to Thurman Thomas on the screen. There's the much-maligned Bills offensive line. They're setting up out there. Hull, Lucina, and Parker. This would set up one of 5 field goals by Steve Christie. Leighton was striking again and again and again. 3 of his field goals over 40 yards. Kevin Gilbride, Cody Carlson, Bucky Richardson. Where's the offense? They look to Webster Slaughter, 7 minutes to go. Richardson to Slaughter for 57 yards, beating Burris and Darby. But first and goal with the score, 15-0 Bills. Richardson rushed hard by Henry Jones, incomplete. Then the number 1 draft pick, Notre Dame, Jeff Burris. Good play, knocks the pass away in the end zone. 3rd and goal, into the end zone. Matt Darby, the dinosaur, picks it up. The Bills eventually give up a touchdown, but their mark in September, the last, 4 or 5 years, 22-4. And the Bills beat the Oilers 15-7. And afterward, the Oilers defense didn't give up a touchdown. Bubba McDowell and company frustrated.
It don't make no sense, man, because we got to get help, man. We got to get help from the offense. We got to get production. That's just what it all comes down to. If they can't give us our help out there on the damn field, what the use of us being out there?
Not a good sign. Thus, remember the Oilers started out 1-4 last year. They got battered by Buffalo to go 1-4. Then they won their last 11 games to get in the playoffs. See if they can turn that around. By the way, congratulations, Andre Reed, only the 13th man in NFL history to catch 600 balls. He's also the all-time leading receiver in the Super Bowl. So people don't know that, Tommy. Well, Jets figured they had Miami figured out. Their game plan, right, but didn't work.
We talked about the Jets' game plan defensively to make Marino take his time getting down the football field. First drive, 10 plays, 70 yards, 5+ minutes. Second play, 10 plays, 69 yards in under 2 minutes. So the message there, Dan Marino can do it any way you ask him to do it.
And let me tell you something else. The Jets and Green Bay, the last 2 weeks, pretty good teams, we think. Miami's made them look sluggish. I don't only mean they've outplayed. One's an accident, two's a trend. One other note.
Outstanding running game.
One other note. Who of us thought, I did, they're wearing their 72 uniforms. The Dolphins are still undefeated in the uniforms of 1972. Well, Tommy, you talk about rushing. The Dolphins' running game, last 5 games, all losses. In 93, combined 303 yards. Against the Packers and the Jets, a combined 301. If you can run, and you have Dan Marino, and you have a defense that's playing much better than advertised, that's why you're 3 and out.
Mr. Everything, Dave Meggett, you got to be careful, especially when you're Washington. And the Giants, keep in mind, have swept Washington 4 of the last 6 seasons, including, of course, last year. And even Dan Reeves getting in on the act for Throwbacks Weekend. Oh, yeah, an old Giants cap. Starting running back Rodney Hampton going to be out a little bit longer with a bruised kidney. Washington first play from scrimmage. John Freeze from
Idaho.
Thank you very much. Reggie Brooks popped by Michael Brooks. Corey Miller intercepts. He's taken it down by the goal line. Meggett will take it in from there. In the second 10-3 Giants, Reggie Brooks was okay. John Freeze, good protection. Hits Henry Ellard in the corner of the end zone, tying the game at 10-all. Oh, they were doing some old-fashioned hitting in this game. Even the kicker, Chip Lowmiller. A late hit to Arthur Marshall. 13-10 Washington. Dave Brown fakes a reverse, avoids Sterling Palmer, and hits Mike Sherrard for the touchdown. What happened, TJ?
Yeah, Sherrard, a great mechanical receiver. Here he comes inside and then starts running. He sees the double team by the safety and runs away from the safety right to the corner of the end zone. Great throw by Dave Brown.
Works every time. Still in the second, John Freeze back to work. Hits Ellard again. A 22-yard gain on the left side. The connection works again. Ellard on the right side this time, becoming the 10th player in NFL history to have more than 10,000 yards receiving. Halftime, Washington leading 20-17. Dave Meggett would be the star in the second half. Norv Turner had to be concerned. In the third, Brown hands off to Meggett. Option pass, you know what he's going to do to Aaron Pierce. 3 touchdown tosses for Dave Meggett, all against Washington. 24-20 Giants.
You see Aaron Pierce there, spot shadow. He acts like he's throwing a block. Linebacker makes the commitment. It's an easy throw.
More big hits. Reggie Brooks spots a hole. He's leveled by ex-Eagle John Booty. In the fourth, 24-23 Giants, Dave Brown off to Meggett. He fumbles, but recovers at the goal line. Next play, Meggett gets the call again. He hangs on to it this time. 31-23, G-men in the lead. Still time for Norv Turner's team. 4th and 5. Freeze completes to Henry Ellard down to the 25. 6 seconds left. Last play of the game. They need a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to tie. Freeze looking for Desmond Howard, but he is picked off by John Booty in the end zone. And oh boy, the Giants hold on. 31-23. The loss overshadowed another fine outing by John Freeze, who was 32 of 50 for a career high 381 yards with 2 touchdowns, but 2 INTs and a career day for Dave Meggett. The Saints at the Big Sombrero. The Bucs hoping for back-to-back wins for the first time since the 92 season. You know what, guys? You needed a sombrero in this weather. 100 degrees, hot for the player. Oh, yeah. You know, I bet Sam Weish would look great in a sombrero. Second quarter, Craig Erickson and company trailing 6-0 after 2 Morton Anderson field goals. Nice fake. Finds Jackie Harris. A 10-yard score. Little icing on the cake. A 15-yard play. The drive goes for 15 plays, 80 yards in almost 11 minutes. Jim Everett, his turn to speak for the Saints. Late in the second, trailing 7-6. Everett to Wesley Walls, the big tight end. Looks even bigger in that uniform. Sets up Morton Anderson's 43-yard field goal, his 3rd kick of the day. 9-7 Saints. Even the officials getting in on Throwbacks Weekend. Jim Everett left the game with a groin injury, replaced by Wade Wilson, who only threw for 68 yards, but the Saints D picked up the slack, led by linebacker Darian Connor, who gave Craig Erickson some problems, TJ.
Yeah, Darian Conner, another one of those outside linebackers with the great speed, so he's always turning that corner. He had 3 sacks on the day, Robin.
Bucks were frustrated. Michael Husted on for a 53-yard field goal attempt. Winds up punting it instead. Yeah, another Sam Weiss stunt. Late in the 4th, Weiss trying to fire up the troops. 4th down and 27. 4th and 27. Bucks down 9-7. Under 2 minutes left. Erickson looks and finds Willie Green. A big first down. Then controversy, TJ.
Yeah, Erickson here trying to throw the ball. Tyrone Leggett gets the interference call, and you can see unless he had his hand on the receiver's back, that probably was a bad call.